Dave Roberts having a good time with Baxter, the Diamondbacks mascot. Even though I'm pretty sure Diamondback is a snake. That's not a snake. But that's Baxter. And that's Zach Greinke ready for game 2 of this 3-game series after the Diamondbacks took the opener last night by a final of 6-3 on Jake Lamb's 2 home runs, including the grand slam in the 8th inning off of Tony Watson. Here's the lineup for the Dodgers, brought to you by Honda. Chris Taylor to lead things off. Then it's Seager, Turner, and Bellinger. Grandal bats 5th and does the catching. Chase Utley sliding a little bit higher in the order. He's been really good lately in his limited playing time. He's at second base. Jock Peterson trying to get off the schneid with his long hitless streak going. He's in center hitting 7th. And then it's Puig in right in front of Alex Wood. It was a nightmare for Zach Greinke last year in his first year here in Arizona, but he says this year's been amazing. One of the best years of his life. Not just the success on the field, but his wife gave birth to their 2nd kid, and he's settled in here as one of the faces of this franchise.
He is much healthier this year, which leads to much better command, and he'll throw that fastball, curveball, slider, and change in any count. He's going to have a precise plan for every hitter. If you study the analytics on Zach this year, the only Achilles heel I can find is when the off-speed stuff is a strike, he gives up a lot of well-hit balls. But what he has done most of the year, like he does, is live on the edges and then walk you off the plate.
Since coming to Arizona, he's faced the Dodgers 4 times, 2 good starts and 2 really bad starts, including on April 14th at Dodger Stadium, gave up 5 runs on a season-high 10 hits. So the Dodgers will try to get to him again in this one, to even this series at a game apiece and make tomorrow the rubber match. Chris Taylor climbs in, and off we go with ball 1. Closed captioning today brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. The Dodgers 5-2 on this long road trip. 24-4 since the 4th of July. Taylor hits it foul, and it's 1-1. Overall, they're 79-33. That is 8 games better than anybody else in baseball. And it's the best record at this point in the season in the National League since 1944. Ground ball to short. Ketel Marte. 1 out. I'm talking with Turner Ward, the Dodger hitting coach, about Zach Greinke and what makes him so good. It's a pretty simple scouting report. You touched on it, but it's a plan and a specific one to each hitter. That's half of it. The other half is the ability to execute it with excellent command.
When the command wasn't there last year, I would think that there were a few health issues at times because the velocity was down. It's not all the way back to his 95, 96, but he's going to average around 91, 92 miles an hour. When you have good health and good command and a mind that like Zach Greinke has, that is a great combination.
1 ball and no strikes on Corey Seager. Hitting .450 in his last 10 games. And ahead in the count here, 2-0. He has owned Greinke in their lifetime meeting. 6 for 9 with a pair of home runs and a double. On this 2-0, Greinke misses badly. 3 balls, no strikes.
That's his first real miss. It was all the way across the strike zone.
We'll have the green light if he wants it. A 4-pitch walk. So the Dodgers have their first base runner of the night, and it brings up Justin Turner. We take a look at our Land Rover Performance Spotlight, leading the National League with that .351 average, and only Jose Altuve across baseball is better.
The average is up. The power is back. 14 and 15 on the home run totals yesterday. And Justin's fluid swing, that picturesque swing, seems to be back in time.
2 home runs after he homered on Saturday and on Sunday in New York. With a man at first and one gone here in the first inning, Greinke comes home and Turner swings at a curve back to the mound. They get one at second and an inning-ending double play. So Greinke faces the minimum in the first inning. Alex Wood takes it when you come back. Solidly in that wild card game at this point, and here is their lineup brought to you by Honda. David Peralta will bat leadoff. Adam Rosales acquired at the deadline, only his fourth start in a Diamondbacks uniform. Then Pollock, then Goldschmidt. JD Martinez came over from the Tigers in July. Marte, Lamb, and Mathis rounding out the lineup in front of Greinke. Alex Wood has the third best earned run average in baseball, but that didn't keep him from tweaking things in his last bullpen mechanically. The velocity had dipped some. He's wondering if it was fatigue, if it was something mechanical. He thinks that mechanical tweak unlocked that velocity.
The relationship between the hips and the shoulders, that separation, getting a little bit more hip power into his delivery. Took that velocity up a notch. He also adjusted back with his arsenal in his last outing. Because he felt the fatigue, he threw a lot more changeups. That makes the fastball look better.
Here's his 0-1. And Peralta hits a hard ground ball that Chase Utley ranges over to gobble up for the first out. Wood said he was really proud of that one in Atlanta. Not just against his former team, which had lit him up to start prior, but the fact that he didn't have his best stuff, the velocity was down, didn't have his strikeout stuff that we've seen, and he still found a way to hold him to 1 run over 6 innings.
It wasn't put away off-speed stuff, but it was strike off-speed stuff, which kept him very much off balance.
Cesar Rosales looks at a ball. And that fastball to 93. Wood, when the fastball has been down, 90-91. Another hard ground ball, but Corey Seager's waiting on it. 2 up and 2 down. One of the top pitchers in baseball at inducing ground balls has done so twice. So with the bases empty, here comes A.J. Pollock. Well, the Diamondbacks woefully inconsistent offensively here in the second half. And so Torey Lovullo has continued to tweak this lineup. This is only the 3rd time that Pollock has hit 3rd. A fastball whizzes in a 94 for a strike. So woefully inconsistent overall, or lately, but when you look at the full body of work for this offense, really good and pretty darn scary, 1 through 5 in the order most nights.
It's a team that can really jump on you very quickly. They can hit for power. They're very good at hitting line drives.
There's one to center. Peterson will lay out to make the catch. And despite some loud contact in the first inning, Alex Wood with a 1-2-3 start. Cody Bellinger, the hometown boy, leads off the second against Zack Greinke. When you come back. Out here in Phoenix. Can't tell what he's munching on. Looks good though. Zack Greinke back at it after facing the minimum in the first inning. Bellinger, Grandal, and Utley coming up against him. Takes ball one. Bellinger 1 for 4 last night. Doubled and scored as the Dodgers jumped in front in that game 3-1. High drive, forget about it. Cody Bellinger with a moonshot. And the Dodgers lead 1-0 on his 33rd.
Take a look at Audi pitch cast as Cody Bellinger unloads on this one. 33 of them. He hits them off everybody, and this one he hits off of one of the most elite pitchers in the game. The youngster is showing he can hit everyone.
Greinke drops in a strike on Grandal. And this one comes in his hometown, moving him within 2 of Mike Piazza's rookie record in 1993. There have been dozens here to watch Bellinger, friends and family, over the first 2 nights of this series. Product of Hamilton High School. Greinke's 1-1. Ball 2. Can't be an easy thing, right? Coming in, playing in your hometown for the first time. Exciting, but not simple.
Not simple at all. A lot more responsibilities. People who just want to say hi. People want to take you to lunch or stay out after the game and visit.
Grandal flips it off the end of the bat. And foul ground, it slices into the seats.
It's fun to see everybody. It's fun to catch a hello and get somebody tickets. But after a while, as an everyday player, it's wear and tear. And there's a routine to baseball, and there's a routine to the rest in between games.
He didn't even take a chance to sleep in his own bed. He stayed at the team hotel. Grandal swings wildly at strike 3, kicks away from Jeff Mathis, who has time to throw him out. Maybe that's a defense mechanism against some of that you're talking about, getting pulled in every direction.
Plus the commute from home to the stadium is a lot farther than the one to the hotel, but it might be in the balance, maybe only about 10 minutes different. But I think it is. It is that hedge that you put around yourself a little bit when your responsibilities come every single day.
With one out, here's Chase Utley. There's a home run on his resume against Greinke. Strike 1. Utley really swinging a hot bat lately. Playing time spotty, but in his last 10 games hitting .375. And getting a start today with the right-hander Greinke up there. Strike 2.
Early season slump. Really a historic slump for him, but then the adjustment of being a guy who's not getting regular playing time and finding at bats. And I think Dave Roberts stuck with him for a very long time, and Chase Utley has rewarded him for that. Kept trying to find him at bats and find ways to get him in there, maybe 3 times a week, back-to-back days or nights. Let him find some rhythm. And it didn't come quickly, but when it came, he has really contributed in a big way to this team.
And a guy who's been around as long as Chase has deserves that opportunity, right?
I think he does, and I think he gets it from not only Dave Roberts and management, but he gets it from his teammates. So there can be mumblings when somebody is getting playing time that maybe they don't deserve, but Chase has earned it no matter how long the slump went, with everything that he does for this team and taught these guys through example. He had a little longer timeline.
Strikes out here. Greinke with back-to-back Ks after the Bellinger home run.
Center field, number 31, Jock Peterson.
So a 2 outs. Here's Peterson. And this 0 for 21 that he's on, 2 shy of his longest career 0 for. Had an 0 for 23 as a rookie. Had an 0 for 22 last year. And the 3 longest offers of his career have all come right around the same time of the calendar. And that's probably not a mistake. These are the dog days of summer, as they say. That one wraps around the plate, ball 1.
2 out, nobody on in the last inning, and he didn't fall asleep thinking about this at bat. Played a fine center field, got a good jump on the ball, so not taking that slump into the defensive side of the game.
One and one. And for whatever it's worth, sometimes it is, sometimes it's not worth anything. A really nice looking batting practice today. Hit some of the home runs you see him hit when he's right. Those long, majestic shots. On a 1-1 from Greinke. He takes it in the dirt, ball 2. The 33-year-old from Orlando. Home with a 2-1 pitch. Fouled off 2-2. Greinke now in his 14th season. Debuted back in 2004 when he was only 20 years old after Kansas City drafted him 6th overall, debuted a couple of years after that. From the Royals to the Brewers to the Angels, then those 3 years with the Dodgers before signing the record contract here in Arizona before last season. More than $34 million per year. It's the highest annual salary in Major League history. Tails that one back in there for strike 3 and puts an end to the Dodgers' second. 3 consecutive strikeouts, but they come after Cody Bellinger's home run. His 33rd of the season opens the scoring and sends us to the bottom of the second. Against 16 of the 19 teams that he's faced this year. You get Zach Greinke in the second to open the scoring in this one, and Paul Goldschmidt stands in and takes a ball from Alex Wood. Goldschmidt going through one of those runs right now where he is red hot. 435 over the last 2 weeks. That includes a 3 home run game at Wrigley. 15 RBIs in the last 2 weeks. It's one of the things that makes these guys scary when you get into a series in October is what he can do over a stretch. The other side of that is that there are times when Goldschmidt is off, and when he is, this entire offense looks a whole lot different.
That's why the bat of JD Martinez and the trade, bringing him over here, lengthens this lineup, and one more component that can get hot and carry you. But you are right, he's not usually cold very long, and when he's hot he can carry you, but if one of those cold streaks hits in a short series, it could be a very good thing for the opponent.
Wood throws him a 2-2 and Goldschmidt fouls it off. Arizona's not been to the postseason since 2011. In fact, that was their last winning season. And in the first year under Torey Lovullo, they hope that they're headed back. Right now, firmly in position on one of the 2 wild card spots. 6.5 ahead of Milwaukee. It would be fun for the country to be able to see Goldschmidt on a big stage. That 2011 season he had just debuted. Nobody knew who he was yet. I don't think people still really know who he is to the degree that they probably should, that his performance warrants. Digs this one out. Turner spears it. Guy that plays some pretty good defense himself at first. Can appreciate Turner picking that one for the first out of the second.
Take a look at this with our Volkswagen replay, and Justin Turner with the reaction time playing off the line in that 6th hole. Heads back towards the regular third base position and snags it with a backhand.
Well, Wood has retired the first 4, but doesn't seem to be fooling anybody yet. A lot of hard contact. JD Martinez laid on a fastball at 94. Been with the Diamondbacks for a few weeks now since they got him in a trade from Detroit. Not hitting for average, but providing some power. 6 home runs. 1 ball and 1 strike.
He's a good looking hitter. Even in a slump, he looks very hitterish.
He's been one of the best hitters in baseball since overhauling his swing. It was back a few years ago when he was acquired by the Tigers. One of the very first guys to embrace the whole fly ball concept, trying to elevate pitches. 2-2. 3 years in Houston where he was pretty much an average hitter. They let him go. Didn't give him an opportunity to have a season following change in his swing. And the Tigers quickly picked him up and watched him flourish. Pokes this one into right center field. Puig won't get there. Martinez on his way to second with a double. The Diamondbacks have their first base runner of the night.
Excellent pitch by Alex Wood. Outer half down. Gets him really fooled, but that's a very strong individual that had enough swing to just get that one in the gap. Reminds me a little bit of how fooled Lamb was last night, way out in front, hit the grand slam that beat the Dodgers.
Did you read the note on that grand slam, the hit probability based on how hard he hit it and how high he hit it? Not just home run probability, but it is a hit 3% of the time, and it turned into a game-winning grand slam.
It's about how often you hit the foul pole, 3% of the time.
That seems high.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Marte fouls off the first pitch, strike 1. When you feel for Tony Watson, I mean, he said, though, he didn't execute the pitch the way that he wanted to. Although when you induce this kind of contact, you don't expect it to be a game-changing hit.
It hung a slider earlier in the bat, came back to throw one down and away, and left it over the middle, and just enough height to get it out of here, and just enough swing to help it go that far.
One ball and 1 strike. Dave Roberts said he felt really good about Watson against Lamb. Lamb, one of the worst hitters in baseball this year against left-handed pitching. And Watson hadn't given up a home run to a left-hander yet. See Brock Stewart down in the Dodger bullpen. He's here with Luis Avilan on paternity leave. Expected to join the team again this weekend when they head back to LA. A pop-up into short right. Yasiel Puig, 2 out. And congratulations to Luis and his wife Mariana. Sebastian Andres, born yesterday, their first child.
Third baseman, number 22, Jake Lamb.
Oh, 2 outs, it's up to Lamb. And Sebastian was born Monday, not yesterday. He's twice as old as I thought. Time flies by, doesn't it, Luis? Lamb hits the first pitch in the air to left. Chris Taylor to the foul line. Inning over. A 1-out double from J.D. Martinez, but no damage. And after 2, the Dodgers in front 1-0. Updated to reflect Cody Bellinger's second inning home run. How about the dispersal of home runs throughout the lineup? Highlighted by Puig's 19 out of the 8th spot. But even out of the 6th spot, they have 27. A handful of those Bellinger, but you also have Grandal and Peterson and Barnes and a few from Taylor out of that spot. That is the picture of lineup depth. Puig swings away and misses, and away we go here in the 3rd.
It really means in any time in the game, if it's a 1-run game late, somebody can put you on the board and tie it up or put you ahead by 2.
One ball and 1 strike. Puig 1 for 4 in last night's game. Facing his old teammate Zach Greinke, who brings a 1-1. That rides inside, and Puig's ahead, 2 balls and a strike. Those 3 years Greinke had in Los Angeles, 3 of the best seasons in franchise history. As far as ERA goes, the 3rd best 3-year stretch. That's in, and it's 3-1. And some pretty darn good company when you're looking at 3-year Dodger pitching stretches. The only better ones, peak Koufax in the mid-60s, peak Kershaw. And then Greinke, 13 through 15. His 3-1 is down and away, ball 4. Yasiel Puig with a leadoff walk.
MLB.com at Bat is your #1 mobile app for live Dodger baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Get Dodger home screen icons and app features as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat today.
Greinke was really close to deciding between the Dodgers and the Giants once he hit free agency, and in fact was coming down to the final few hours before making his decision when the Diamondbacks called for the first time. That's a ball on Alex Wood. And 5 hours after the Diamondbacks first touched base with Zach's agent, they had fleshed out the deal, the 6-year, $206 million deal.
I think the 6th year really did it, and they put a little bit more over the top on the money side, and they really swooped in and just stole him away. One ball and 1 strike. This is something Dodger pitchers are going to have to get better at as the season continues. They've hit a little slump as far as their sacrifices are concerned.
Wood pulls it back and unloads on a ball to left center field that's run down by Peralta. That'd be as far as you've ever seen Alex Wood hit it on a slash play. Well, Peralta makes the catch, and back to first goes Puig.
Aggressive infield defense forces him to pull it back and swat it. When you do this, you really want to try and hit it on the ground. This one hit well enough that it almost found a hole.
Second time through the order now. Here's Chris Taylor, who was mic'd up today for the Backstage Dodger crew. So you can look forward to some all access Chris Taylor coming up on an episode soon.
They had to leave the mic on him a little longer than most guys. He's a pretty quiet guy, so took more footage to find actually some times when he was speaking.
One and oh.
Doesn't really seek the limelight at all, and very cordial with the media anytime he's asked something, but really doesn't, not real verbose. And so the Backstage crew really was like, we haven't done anything on Chris Taylor, and he's having a great year. We've got to get something going here. Chris was nice enough to let the mic be put on today during batting practice.
Good place for it. He's hitting above 500 in his career against Arizona. That includes his first career home run in this ballpark, and just barely finishing shy of the cycle here last year, where he needed only a single and he tried to bunt for it. It took a great play by the pitcher to cut it off to keep him from getting the first cycle since Orlando Hudson. First Cody Bellinger pulled it off this year. Two balls and no strikes. It will always be known as the Chris Taylor trade. And it'll be one that will cause Seattle Mariner fans to drop their heads. Straight up for Zach Lee.
Yasiel not really in his legs, just kind of pops up. He reacts to Zach Greinke coming to first, but he reacts straight up instead of going back.
Boy, it is really close over there.
If you step with the foot closest to the bag, it's like a false step because you only get about 6 inches back. If you cross over, you gain a lot of distance. And if you just pop up, you don't gain any distance.
I remember yesterday, Nathan Lucero, the trainer, and Dave Roberts both had to come out after an infield single for Puig, where it looked like he had maybe pulled something. It's an encouraging sign to see him back in the lineup today, and doesn't appear to be burdened by anything as he races back to the bag again and again with Greinke's pickoff throws.
Zach looking for an out. 2-0 to a very hot hitter in Chris Taylor. He would take a gift.
Well, 2-1 on Taylor now. And this is yesterday with Puig. Just looked like kind of an awkward step there where he reached the bag. And you immediately cringe because he's dealt with the hamstring problems in previous years, and those have a big hand in Puig's issues with production the last few years. Got to be on the field to produce. 2-2.
Yasiel's done a nice job with his off-season work, losing weight and getting in better shape, and his in-season work has been much more consistent. In the weight room, staying in shape, and the work with Turner Ward, of course, on his swing.
Puig takes off. Taylor strikes out swinging, and a strike him out, throw him out to finish the inning. So all that work Greinke does pays off, and Puig caught trying to steal.
Fans, it's time to cheer on your favorite condiment as Circle K presents the Circle K D-backs.
At LA is brought to you by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica, the new benchmark of minivans, and by Jack in the Box. Come try the new $4.99 Smoky Jack Burger Combo, a small fries and a small drink, limited time only. So Yasiel Puig caught trying to steal to finish the Dodgers off in the top of this inning. And a 1-0 game to the bottom half. Mathis, Greinke, Peralta. It's 8-9-1 in the Arizona order against Alex Wood, whose first pitch of the inning is cut on and missed for strike one. Mathis, an 11-game hitting streak that dates back to the beginning of July, and this timeshare at catcher with Chris Iannetta and Chris Herman. Anything they get offensively from these guys is gravy. They went specifically off veteran catcher or after veteran catchers like Mathis and like Iannetta to help guide the pitching staff. And they've guided them from the worst in baseball to second behind the Dodgers. 1-2.
It's like having an older brother back there, somebody that you just have to trust, and if you get off course, they have enough authority to get you on course quick enough. And usually those guys also have very good bedside manners with young guys.
Wood strikes him out for the first out of the third inning, and Wood's first K of the night. Mathis learned a lot from Mike Scioscia, your old Battery mate, starting his career in Anaheim. Greinke, one of the best hitting pitchers in the game. He was a star hitter before he was a star pitcher as a shortstop in high school in Florida. It wasn't until his senior season that he started focusing full-time on pitching. He's a natural-born athlete. National High School Player of the Year in his first year as a full-time pitcher.
Not usually up there. Hitter. Looks for a pitch or an area and it just unloads.
Wood home with a 2-1. Greinke fouls it off. The count evens up. Former shortstop, former tennis prodigy as well. Quit when he was 8 years old to start focusing on baseball, but he was one of the best 7-year-old, 8-year-old tennis players around. Wood to Greinke with a 2-2. He lays off a pitch in the dirt. Full count. It's kind of bucking the scouting report you gave about not grinding out at bats.
Yeah, he's not chasing though. He's just really good. The eye-hand coordination you said was, real transferable to other sports. Has not only a plan as he's pitching, I think he's got a plan when he's hitting.
A pop-up. Cody Bellinger settles under this one. 2 up and 2 down. So Alex Wood trying to build off the last start that he made against these guys back in early July. 7 shutout innings. He needed to be just that good. The Dodgers got just 1 run in that game. And he wound up getting the win on a night where he struck out 10.
He's had an outstanding year because Rick Honeycutt convinced him that he needed a third pitch, and that third pitch has always been the curveball, but he needed to throw it more. So his ratios are about 50% fastballs, 25% changeups, 25% curveballs. And then when his work that he put in with mechanical adjustments that he made and he and Rick did together, and then the health benefit that getting stronger, he's really had an outstanding year, and this is the Alex Wood really from his college days.
1 ball and 1 strike on David Peralta.
Very quick in his last outing to make an adjustment and to throw the changeup a little bit more because the fastball was coming out like a flat tire. It was a mile an hour 2 or short. That hurts your confidence in that and your command. Threw more changeups. There's some first pitch changeups, which we haven't seen at all this year in his last outing.
His 2-1, outside ball 3. And you've talked about how the improvements on each pitch have complemented the other 2 pitches, and they've all worked hand in hand to produce by far his best season.
Command on all 3 is much better this year, and then of course, yeah, that's exponentially when you then combine them.
That's up, ball 4. First walk issued by Wood, keeps his 3rd inning alive. And it brings up Rosales. You know, the other thing Wood has said has been different this year is that he came into the year committed to being a little better at letting the bad things go. He's such a perfectionist by nature, had a tendency to dwell on bad outings and put too much pressure on himself. He said a key for him has been accepting that, you know, he's going to give it his all, going to give it his best, and then beyond that, a lot of it is out of his control.
Well, he had to exercise that muscle at the beginning of the season when he didn't make the rotation.
Yeah.
Keep his concentration, but always was quoted as, "I see myself as a starting pitcher." And just waited for the opportunity, and Rich Hill's early blister problems gave him that opportunity.
Here's his 1-0. And a change up, 1-1. Isn't it amazing the silver linings that have come out of some injuries this year? So you had Rich Hill's blister issues that opened the door for Wood to come into the rotation. Logan Forsythe's injury opened the door for Chris Taylor to get called up. And Cody Bellinger got an everyday opportunity when Adrian Gonzalez dealt with his back issue. Runner at first with 2 gone and a 1-1 from Wood. 1-2. The silent assassin, as they called him at Georgia, Alex Wood, home with a 1-2. Rosales can't lay off, and the inning is over. Bookend strikeouts for Alex Wood, who's put up 3 more zeros. Austin Barnes going to visit live with Alana when you come back.
Thanks to a Cody Bellinger solo shot, and I'm joined now by Austin Barnes, who gets the start off for this game. First and foremost, you take a foul tip off of that hand. How is that feeling, and how thankful were you that the X-rays were negative?
Yeah, I was feeling great. I was able to finish the game, which is a good sign, obviously. So, yeah, the X-rays showed back no problems actually. Yeah, I'm pretty thankful. It hurt a little bit, and but with the training staff, we we kind of figured it out, so it's good.
Leave it to Jock Peterson to be throwing gum at you. Alex Wood so far looking pretty impressive. Just the double and the walk, just 2 base runners so far. What are you seeing from him?
Yeah, Woody's just being Woody. He's going after people. He's competing, obviously, like he always does, and looks like he's got his good mix. His slider's looking good, and his changeup's looking good right now. I
think on Players Weekend, Woody is Woodman on the back of his jersey. You are Sam. Why?
I can't.
He just lined out to right.
Yeah, I don't know if I can divulge all that information, but yeah, my name's Sam. There's some good ones. Chicken strip ones, chicken strip. Yeah, it should be fun though. It's awesome.
What about Corey with Seager?
What's that?
What about Corey with Seager? It's pretty boring.
Yeah, it is boring. His brother's got the good one, right? Corey's brother.
Corey's brother, as Corey is right behind us right now. All right, Chase Utley, Silver Fox, you good with that?
Yeah, there's some good ones. Should be a fun weekend.
All right, Austin. Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Solana. They got awkward real quick, didn't it, with Corey sneaking in behind her?
Especially the frustration of a line out.
Yeah. For the first out of the 4th, Justin Turner now. Strike 1. Ball and a strike on Turner. Grounded into a double play his first time. Dodgers only 1 hit in this game, left the yard. Bellinger's home run in the second. Two and 1. Breaking ball snaps off outside. Turner's in the driver's seat here with a 3-1 count against Greinke. And Bellinger due next.
Greinke knows that Turner's bat is heated up, so he is trying to get him to chase. He doesn't want to give in. First at bat got him on a slow curveball. Looked like he took an awful lot off of.
Coming inside with his 3-1, left it over the plate and got strike 2. Highest strikeout rate, lowest walk rate of Zach Greinke's career. Here's his payoff. He misses, ball 4. Turner's aboard on the 3rd Greinke walk of this one. Alana, you're talking a little bit about the Players Weekend. Tell us more.
Yeah, August 25th through the 27th, MLB is letting the players have some personality. Time now for the T-Mobile Unlimited Baseball Break. Justin Turner drawing that walk. Of course, he is red turned 2, and here are some of the players' choices for their nicknames on the back of their jersey. You have Cody Love. You have Logie Bear for Logan Forsythe. Daddy is Andre Ethier. Austin Barnes just said that he was Sam. I love Seagers, though. Seager. That's awesome. Jock Peterson is Dizzy. And then, of course, I think the best of all in baseball is Corey Seager's brother, Kyle, because he just went and said Corey's brother.
That is so good. Strike 1 on Bellinger. First, I had heard about that. I thought that they had said he couldn't do it because he wanted Corey Seager's brother and they couldn't fit it. But who needs to add Seager? Everybody knows who he's talking about when you say Corey's brother. And then we'll wear these uniforms. All the teams will, those special design uniforms. Dodgers one's really cool, the navy and the light blue. Coming up in a couple weeks. 1-1. What do you think of the look?
I think it's a lot of fun. I love the game is growing and progressing in a lot of different ways to draw interest and give the players more personality, fans a better connection to them. The interviews will be fun when they're wearing the jerseys, guys explaining why they got the names, and probably see some interesting conversations like with Justin Turner and Goldie at first. If they had their jerseys on, you might be seeing them comparing. What do you got? What do you got? Why you got that? You see more conversations on the field maybe.
Don't ask Austin why he's Sam. That's classified.
Sounds like it's going to be only the shortstop or the second baseman of the opposing team might find out.
He might have to kill him, though. Turner at first with one out. A 1-0 game. Greinke trying to adjust against Bellinger. Way upstairs. Turner back in. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, his denial will just have reporters now digging really hard.
Somebody will find it.
Yep. Should just subtly release it to a small audience on Twitter.
Boston should?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can dictate how small that audience is, though.
No, I don't think it's small at all.
Bellinger looks at strike 3, 2 out.
It's either a ball or a perfect pitch. Looks like a perfect pitch. Pitchcast has it right there. The hollow of the knee. Cody can think it's wide or down.
So a 2 gone. Greinke to face Grandal. I'm as big a fan as anyone of the crisp white Dodger home uniforms, unchanged for so long. But it'd be cool to have a little bit different look for a weekend with the baby blue tone. Grandal gets under it. It's foul. It's 1-1. So it'll be Pantone 290 and Pantone 298-ish. the jersey. That's a total guess. The 1-1. Breaking ball, hit in the air, right center field. Pollock on the move to catch it. And the Dodgers done in the 4th to the bottom half in a 1-0 game.
Backstage Dodgers go behind the scenes as the best team in baseball bolsters their pitching staff with a few trade deadline deals. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers, presented by Hankook Tire, Thursday after the postgame on Sportsnet LA.
3 scoreless innings so far for Alex Wood. Back out there for the 4th, trying to even this series at a game apiece. Dodgers have not lost a series since they faced Washington in the beginning of June. 24-4 since the 4th of July. 44-8 since dropping that series to the Nationals. Middle part of the order. Wood to A.J. Pollock. Strike one. Diamondbacks have the second best record in franchise history at this point. And in a vacuum, it's an incredible season. It's just completely overshadowed, a lot like the Rockies season, by how dominant the Dodgers have been.
The two organizations are probably very proud of how much they improved their records over last year. But wow, the Dodgers improved too.
Pollock lifts a fly ball to right center field. That'll be Jock Peterson or Yasiel Puig. It's Puig. Diamondbacks already within 5 wins of last year's total. They went 69-93. And right now 64-48. Injuries were a part of it last year. Pollock missed almost the entire season. Peralta missed a lot of the year. Goldschmidt, who bats here, had a down season by his standards. And then the big splash signings they made, getting Zach Greinke and trading for Shelby Miller, neither one of those came through the way they had hoped. 1-0. High fly ball, straightaway center. Paul Goldschmidt ties the game with a solo home run.
In a hot streak, this Morongo slow-mo cam will give you a great look at this bomb. Digging out a low fastball. That ball was golfed.
Where did it hit?
Wow.
JD Martinez now loses the bat up into the seats on a foul ball and strike one.
The yellow line in center is about 2.5 walls high, and then he hit it about another 2 walls up on the batter's eye, about 3/4 of the way up there right about now on your screen.
443 feet sound long enough?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know how they calculate that stuff.
I'm just saying if it's 407, the wall in center.
You give him another 40 feet or so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Martinez, a little jam shot. Cody Bellinger will catch this one. 2 out. Home run number 26 of the year for Paul Goldschmidt. Gives him 90 RBIs, tied for the second most in baseball with his teammate Jake Lamb. Everybody chasing Nolan Arenado, who almost has 100 already.
Well, if you're going to give them up, you'd rather give them up like that than those wall scraper, paint scrapers where they just barely make it. Those are the frustrating ones as a pitcher.
Strike one on Ketel Marte. Oh, and 2. Alex Wood, one of the hardest guys in baseball to homer against. Only the 6th that he's allowed this year in more than 100 innings. Downhill with an 0-2, and Marte takes it in the dirt for ball 1.
A lot of guys would love to give up a home run maybe every 10, 11 innings. Alex Wood coming into this game was below a half a home run per game, per 9 innings.
Roller to third. Turner's got it, and the inning is over. A Bellinger home run answered by a Goldschmidt home run, and after 4 innings, tied at 1. At LA is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Save big on a reliable new 2017 Camry, now at Toyota's National Clearance Event. 42 years ago on this day, Davey Lopes broke the Major League record with a 32nd consecutive successful stolen base in a year where he would finish with a career best 77 of them. Only got caught 12 times. And finished second all-time in Dodger history. Only Maury Wills stole more bags than Lopes. Chase Utley to start the 5th for the Dodgers in a 1-1 game. They say Lopes deserves a lot of the credit for how good of a start Trey Turner has gotten off to as a stolen base threat in Washington. He's now the first base coach there.
Every place that Davey's been, he has imparted his expertise, and it is priceless. Even opposing base stealers will seek him out for information and tips. Kind of just like pitchers or hitters, there's a little fraternity there of base runners.
Greinke's 0-2. Ground ball to first. Goldschmidt's got it, and he feeds Greinke for the first out.
Gold glove to Gold glove. Good range from Goldschmidt. A nice backhand, regains his balance, and an easy feed to Zach Greinke, who could catch almost anything if you get in his area. Goldie using all of his frame to reach that one, and Zach very routine.
Zach is 33 now. He's been pitching in the majors for 14 seasons. Debuted 2 years after he was drafted. 2004 with the Kansas City Royals. His first one to Jock Peterson is a little bit low for a ball. Second year for Greinke in the majors, went 5-17, had an ERA around 6, and just was not having any fun at all. He was battling anxiety, decided to step away from the game the following spring. He threw a bullpen and finally just kind of reached the last straw with the whole thing and said this is it. Didn't like how he was feeling. Didn't like how he was feeling pitching. Didn't like how he was feeling emotionally. Then went home to Florida. 2-1. First time that he had seen someone for his condition. Went in and saw a psychologist. Got the proper treatment, the proper medication, and after 2 months away, felt good enough to go back to playing. And the good ending to this story is that 3 years later he won a Cy Young, and he's obviously gone on to an incredible career. 2-2, but had to battle a lot to make it happen.
All kinds of hurdles that you have to come over to perform at this level, and some of them do end up being on the mental side, not just the physical side or the injury side.
And so Peterson has matched a career-long 0 for streak, 0 for his last 23 now, with 2 strikeouts tonight.
Right fielder, Yasiel Puig.
With the bases empty, here's Puig. Marte with a backhand has it on the fly, and the inning is over. Zach Greinke with his first true 1-2-3 inning of the game. We are halfway home. I need one of those. 1-1 game. Welcome inside. This is billed as one of the top pitchers duels of the week. Zach Greinke against Alex Wood. And not just maybe a playoff preview with these two teams, but this specific matchup very well could happen in October.
It sure could. If Zach Greinke wins the wild card game against Colorado, the way the schedule works out in the off days, Game 3 starter Alex Wood for the Dodgers possibly. Zach Greinke could be rested from the wild card game for Game 3.
Jake Lamb leads off this inning, and Alex Wood gives him a strike. That would, in that hypothetical situation, be here. 2-2-1 format in the National League Division Series. 2 home games, 2 road games, and then you finish with a home game.
It could go Kershaw, Darvish, Alex Wood, Rich Hill, back to Kershaw in Game 5. It could go Greinke in their wild card game. They have an off day. Then they maybe go Godley or Ray or Godley. Who knows who their Game 4 would be, and then they could come back to whoever they started with. Long way to go, a lot of speculation, but it is a possibility.
It's fun to think about. 2-2 on Lamb, and you are afforded the right to think about it when the team you're covering has a 15-game lead.
The lead that Colorado or Arizona has on the next possible wild card team will determine whether they will be able to juggle their rotation.
Justin Turner behind the bag, throws him out. Very unique spot for him to be positioned as the third baseman flipped over straight up the middle, and going away, he's able to take a hit away from Lamb.
A lot of times when the Dodgers shift, they elect not to move Seager. They move Turner over to where he's played second base throughout his career. Alex Wood on this Carl's Cam replay swats at it, but Justin Turner positioned perfectly and smoothly turns it into a forehand and a wrong foot throw.
But a lot of times they have him between Utley or Forsythe and Bellinger.
Yes, they will take him that way.
Mathis goes after the first pitch. A lazy pop fly into short right field that Chase Utley has for out number 2.
I think sometimes they juggle the positioning, keep Seager at home, and then sometimes Turner goes all the way over as the second baseman compared to a shifted type shortstop because of strength of arms of the different guys.
Well, the base is empty and 2 gone. Here's Greinke. You're talking about the wild card standings right now with both the Diamondbacks and the Rockies in a pretty good spot. Milwaukee up next on that list, and the Rockies with a 6-game advantage on them. 1 ball and no strikes.
As those positions get more secure as you get to the end of September, you will see a juggling. I would think they get the exact pitcher they want for the wild card game on the right rest.
Would you rather, say you're Arizona or Colorado in that situation, would you make the priority lining up your pitching, or would you make the priority doing everything you can to host that game?
That's a good question, and you might be able to do both if you know soon enough where that third place team is.
Turner knocks it down. Greinke's got an infield single. Heck of an effort even to get a glove on that ball, but he can't corral it. The inning kept alive.
Well, Arizona gets another hit. Zach Greinke hit that ball really hard, and because it bounces away from Justin so far, no matter how fast you're running out of the batter's box, you're going to make it.
Greinke now with a hit in 4 consecutive starts. What's that conversation?
I think Zach's complimenting Cody on how far he hit the ball off of him.
Strike 1 on Peralta.
Maybe something like, boy, you hit that one hard. That'd be from Cody, and Zach says back, well, but not as hard as you hit yours.
And Greinke, a baseball savant that one day would like to run a team. I'm sure he had his eyes on Bellinger when he was in the Dodgers organization, and Bellinger was a minor leaguer. That's not far-fetched to say that. Zach is known as somebody who really pays close attention to his team's entire system, likes to be in the draft room on draft day. In fact, when he was in Milwaukee, and he does his own scouting, he goes and watches kids that teams have their eyes on. When he was in Milwaukee, he badly wanted the Brewers to draft Corey Seager. The Dodgers took him, I think, 7 or 8 selections before the Brewers had a chance.
Well, he should save all his picks, mail them off, and get them notarized, and then open them up someday as part of his interview process to get the job. I've already done my scouting. I've already done my work. I don't want to go back and, think I'm lying to you. So here are the hermetically sealed envelopes with the notaries, and you can see what I chose over the years.
Had a pretty good choice for a shortstop. He once told A.J. Ellis that if he was general manager of the team Ellis was on, first thing that he would do would be trade him because his value will never be higher. Zach never wanted to mince words. Brutally honest. Peralta can't lay off, and this inning comes to an end. Alex Wood with his 3rd strikeout. Through with 5 innings in this pitcher's duel, living up to its billing. Nothing to be ashamed of. Wood gave up a home run to Goldschmidt. Greinke gave up a home run to Bellinger.
Alex Wood at some time tonight has been effectively wild, but really on his game, and Zach Greinke has really been locked in. After he gives up the home run, he strikes out the side and really has not struggled that much at all. A couple hard hit balls for both of them that found gloves, but other than that, they have dueled toe-to-toe.
And they will go toe-to-toe to open this 6th inning. Diamondbacks took game 1 last night 6-3. Tied at 1 as we go to the 6th here in game 2. And Alex Wood takes strike 1. Oh, and 2.
You mentioned that Zach Greinke was a baseball savant. Well, Alex Wood was a very good student at Georgia, made the honor roll there, the athletic honor roll. I don't know if athletic honor roll is like straight A's, though. I don't know what grade point you need to get on that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I never made it.
You didn't sniff it, so you didn't need to worry about it.
Nah, not for the whole time there. Maybe for a quarter or two.
Well, to be fair, Bowling Green is the Harvard of the Midwest.
It sure is.
Wood down swinging, 1 out in the 6th.
See if I can get through this promo. The Dodgers topped the National League with 6 All-Star selections this year, and now fans can receive an exclusive commemorative photo by purchasing 4 more tickets to any remaining home game. This is a limited-time offer, and you must purchase your tickets at Dodgers.com/Let'sGoDodgers.
Good job, Oral.
Commemorative is a long word for Bowling Green.
You know, there are a lot of very smart Bowling Green grads out there, I'm sure, that don't appreciate your tone about them. With 1 out in a tie game, Chris Taylor takes strike 1. No disputing the school he went to. Virginia, very good academic institution. One ball and 1 strike. Quite a seat. Two and 1. A 2-1. Breaking ball in for a strike, and it's 2-2. Bellinger's home run, the only hit in this game against Greinke, who has responded in a big way to giving up a season-high 6 runs against the Cubs last week. Here he comes with a 2-2. Taylor protects a fastball. Well, we talked about Greinke's background as a tennis player. He still has a tennis tendency in the grunting that he does when he lets pitchers go.
If he reads something or studies something and thinks it works, so exhaling as you go to exert yourself frees up your arm and the tension, and he thinks it makes the ball come out of his hand more accurately and maybe with a little more velocity. He goes with it.
Check swing foul. Something Robbie Ray has picked up as well. Take a listen here. He didn't even grunt for us. Thanks, Zach. Bases empty, one gone. And a 3-2 to Chris Taylor. Barely got a piece to stay alive. And the 9th pitch of the at-bat coming to Chris Taylor, which is the number pitch that he homered against another elite right-hander, Jacob deGrom, in New York earlier on this road trip. The payoff. And he earns the walk. Go-ahead run reaches with one out in the 6th on a Chris Taylor walk.
I thought Chris Taylor caught a break. Pitchcast says he does. Zach Greinke says, where was that?
It brings up Corey Seager, who walked his first time and then scalded a line drive that just happened to be right at J.D. Martinez. Ball one. 4 walks issued by Greinke tonight, new season high. He'd mentioned that his walk rate was at a career low. The Dodgers making him work. The 1-0. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Chris Taylor, good speed over there. Zach Greinke trying to keep the double play in order. Corey Seager, so good at hitting the fastball, doesn't overcommit to it, usually peppers the left center gap. Zach Greinke's gone with 2 off-speed pitches so far, trying to get him to roll over into that shift.
And a tie game in the 6th. Here comes the 1-1. Paints the outside corner with a fastball, 1-2.
Greinke, like a great chess player, kind of sets you up and then goes the other way. Doesn't stick with one plan the whole at bat or the whole game. And especially to these premium hitters.
Got him swinging. Disappearing changeup for out number 2.
The velocity might be depleted a little bit from his heyday, but the 91-92 and then being able to turn that changeup over and still get it into the high 80s with that movement is absolutely spectacular.
That shouldn't work, right? I mean, there's hardly any separation between his fastball velocity and the changeup.
But it does because of the great movement.
It's like a sinker changeup hybrid.
Oh, it's like a left-handed slider.
So it's up to Turner. He takes ball 1.
The graphic we showed earlier about all the home runs throughout the Dodger lineup and how evenly dispersed they are, that makes it very tough to pitch to this lineup in these tight games. Everybody can beat you.
Turner 4 home runs over the last 3 games. Fly ball to left center field, and A.J. Pollock makes the call and the catch. Zach Greinke's held the Dodgers to 1 hit through 6 innings, a 1-1 game. Net LA is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Walter O'Malley and Branch Rickey. O'Malley, on this date in 1979, passed away at the age of 75. Of course, the man most responsible for bringing the Dodgers from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. Born in New York, went to prep school in Indiana, and college at Penn, and eventually Fordham, where he went to law school and was hired by Branch Rickey as the Dodgers lawyer in 1942. Adam Rosales takes strike one from Alex Wood. Within 3 years, O'Malley had purchased a majority stake of the franchise from the Ebbets family. Of course, you recognize from Ebbets Field, the home of the Brooklyn Dodgers. There's some really good teams in that next stretch, the final few years in Brooklyn, but attendance was way down. Ebbets Field badly needed repairs. And so O'Malley originally started looking at trying to get a new ballpark built there. The initial plan wasn't to pull the team out of New York. Inside corner, 1-2. And O'Malley even said that he would pay for most of the park just to keep him in Brooklyn. The only thing that he needed from the city was a plot of land to build it. And the only spot they wanted to offer up is what eventually became the home for Shea Stadium by LaGuardia Airport. 2-2. O'Malley thought, well, if I'm going to have to leave Brooklyn, which meant so much to the franchise, it was the franchise, I would rather go to Los Angeles and explore a market that is desperate to have a major league team as opposed to moving to that spot that the city was offering in Queens. Full count on Rosales. Passed the team on to his son Peter, and I know you had a close relationship with him.
Peter O'Malley's a fantastic owner of a baseball team and a very classy man, the whole family. And I'll tell you what, Walter O'Malley is revered and loved still to this day. Peter made a website for his dad, waltero'malley.com, and it's a fantastic historic website of his life and the whole Dodger history. So there's a lot to be learned from the O'Malley family.
And Walter most known for that move, but he's also known, if you dig a little bit deeper into it, for being one of the first guys to kind of change the way that sports franchises are run and really focus on promotions and marketing and the fan experience, customer service. Rosales down swinging for the first out of the sixth.
The name on the front of the jersey is more important than the name on the back of the jersey. It's one of the lessons you learn very early as a Dodger. To humble yourself and understand that this organization is going to do great things for you, but you have a responsibility in return.
A.J. Pollock, strike one. Oh for 2 today and going through a bit of a slump right now. 2 hits in his last 23 at-bats. The former Notre Dame star. 1 ball and 1 strike. When undrafted out of high school, played in Connecticut, played a few different sports, not just baseball, but he was a basketball player and a soccer player, and said he would have played football too, but school didn't have it until after his junior season. At that point, he had focused on the others. But he goes to Notre Dame, has a hard time even getting on the field his first year. Injury opened the door for him to get more playing time. Once he was an everyday player there, he became an All-American and became a huge draft prospect when he had a great performance in the Cape Cod League. It's the MVP. Arizona wound up drafting him in the first round 3 years after he was undrafted. On this 1-2, he pokes one to right. It sends Yasiel Puig back. Onto the warning track. He can't get it, but it bounces into the seats. A 1-out double for Pollock, and Arizona has the go-ahead run in scoring position.
Yasiel can't catch it. I'm not sure anybody can. Pollock does a nice job stroking this ball to right field, staying inside the ball and being able to drive it just inches over Yasiel's glove. Wasn't really fooled. It was just a good piece of hitting.
And it brings Paul Goldschmidt up, who hit a long home run to dead center his last time. Wood through the back door, strike one.
This was an absolute blast. The fastball, middle, down, and golfed out of here.
26th home run of the year for him. But now only Nolan Arenado has knocked in more. 90 RBIs for the Arizona first baseman. Ground ball to third. Actually winds up going to short, and Seager, who throws him out. So Pollock to third, and with two gone, up comes J.D. Martinez.
Right fielder, J.D. Martinez.
Wood's first one. In the dirt, stopped by Grandal, 1-0.
I think Alex is going to pitch J.D. Martinez very carefully. He's handled Marte tonight. He's in the on-deck circle. Fly ball to right. Ground ball to third. Martinez has a lot more potent bat, even though the average as far as when he has been here in a Diamondback uniform is down. Much more of an offensive threat in my mind.
Go ahead run at third. Two gone in the sixth, and Woods 1-0 is low for ball two. The 2-0. Fouled back, 2-1. Catch too much of the plate for your liking there?
Maybe a little bit. You know, it's hard to really say I'm going to bounce this with a man on third, 2-0 count. You want to get it close to the strike zone, but boy, that was a healthy cut on a pitch that looked like it was in a sweet spot for his swing. Alex believed in it. He shook twice to get to that pitch. Sometimes the commitment in your mind is more important than the exact pitch you want.
Going outside with this one. Martinez puts the Diamondbacks in front. A.J. Pollock in to score, and it's 2-1 Arizona.
It wasn't the same pitch, but it was the same kind of pitch, and it ends up in the same area where he just fouled the ball back, and he zoned this one in. Took a picture of the first one and missed it. Replicated a swing on the next one and hit it.
So with their first lead of the night, Ketel Marte with a man at first and two gone. Strike one. Diamondbacks trying to become the first team to take a series from the Dodgers since the Nationals did it the beginning of June. Marte turns on it to the left field corner. Taylor won't get there. Plays it on a bounce. A double for Marte. Second and third with 2 out.
Does a good job staying on top of this. Hits it right down the line. Chris Taylor's speed might get under this if it's a little closer to him, but because it's right down the line, it finds the outfield grass. Giving up the lead's one thing. Giving up one more hit in this inning starts to put the game in the Diamondbacks' back pocket.
With Lamb coming up, tied with Paul Goldschmidt for number 2 in baseball and runs batted in this year. Martinez at third, Marte at second. Wood to Lamb with the first one, and a ground ball to first. Bellinger has it, and the Diamondbacks settle for 1, but they take their first lead of the night as we move on to the late innings. Cody Bellinger to lead things off. In this game, and it's Arco top-tier play of the game. Cody Bellinger's 33rd home run put the Dodgers in front 1-0 in the second, and he's ready to lead off this 7th.
Goldschmidt answered in the 4th, and the Diamondbacks just got a scratch run there in the 6th. There's a chance for a tie game here, though, in the batter's box.
Greinke's first pitch of the 7th is inside, ball 1. Too shy of the Dodger rookie record now. Still with more than a month and a half to play. The 1-0 in the dirt for ball 2. The Hamilton Husky in Chandler, Arizona, 20 to 25 miles away from Chase Field to the southeast side of town. A lot of friends and family in the house to watch him this week. A 2-0. Fastball for a strike. His mom Jennifer and his dad Clay. On the 2-1, Bellinger looks at strike 2. Right where Greinke went to strike him out looking his second time up. The 2-2. Full count.
By the end of the year, I think there'll be a 4 in front of his home run total. 40-something. The way he's going, he's adjusted back to the league. They've tried to pitch him in. That's what he attacked on Zach Greinke and got the 33rd. He's shown he can hit the soft stuff too.
Rips one down the right field line, a base hit into the corner. Bellinger's got a leadoff extra base hit. He'll stop at second with a double. And just like that, the Dodgers put the tying run in scoring position.
I think it was a changeup. I don't think it was a fastball. It was something off speed, and he just laces it down there on a line, the same place he hit the home run, just different arc.
And the summer six-pack mini plan just got hotter with the addition of Bellinger's first ever bobblehead giveaway on September 8th, courtesy of Takagi tankless water heaters. Customize your summer six-pack around his bobblehead night. Visit Dodgers.com/mini plans. Yasmani Grandal. Ball one. Extends the major league streak and the major league record streak for the most consecutive games with at least 2 extra base hits. Bellinger's done it by himself. Home run and a double, the only Dodger hits in this game. Grandal flips it into center. Pollock charges to catch it for the first out.
Second baseman, Chase Utley.
And a 2-1 game. Here comes Utley. Great atmosphere in here this week.
It really has been. The Diamondbacks came back last night. It really got the crowd into it. It seemed like the Dodger fans were overwhelming them for a lot of the game, but the grand slam woke them up and they've stayed awake.
There is some action down in the Arizona bullpen, and Torey Lovello is Zach Greinke only at 89 pitches. Coming out to have a talk. That is Andrew Chafin. He talks his way out of an exit.
Now he wants to extend the meeting to go over strategy on Chase Utley. A little longer than you would expect. Some grace there for the Cy Young Award winner.
This is the kind of matchup that Zach Greinke lives for, against a guy like Chase Utley with a game on the line.
I'm not sure I've ever seen Chase beg out of a game like, yeah, Skip, I'm glad you came out to check on me. I'm tired. He's always up for the challenge.
Utley 0 for 2 tonight. A pickoff throw with nobody home.
Seeing if the rookie at second was going to get frisky. Little inside move. Easy to put on after a mound visit.
That's low for a ball. Diamondbacks last night got their 34th comeback win. If they could hang on here, it'd be 35 to lead the majors. If the Dodgers can now come back, they would tie the Diamondbacks for the most comeback wins in baseball. Utley hits it along first and foul. 1-1.
Comeback wins and one-run games are about the only categories where the Diamondbacks are in front of the Dodgers. And both those, it's only by 1.
There are a lot of categories, though, where they are second in all of baseball behind the Dodgers. Had a great season here in Phoenix. Greinke to Utley with a 1-1. Ground ball to first. Goldschmidt's got it. Utley the second out. Tying run moves to third.
Routine out because Zach Greinke didn't assume that Paul Goldschmidt was going to get the bag by himself. A long way from the bag, stumbled, but Zach continued his route and was there for the routine out.
So it'd be a great time for Peterson to end this drought. It's been 12 days since his last base hit. If he'd come up with one here, we'd be back at square one. Greinke pitches, and Peterson takes ball one, and a nice stop by Jeff Mathis. Jake Barrett has joined Andrew Chafin. Peterson ties the game with a base hit that goes all the way to the wall. Jock Peterson can breathe a sigh of relief. It's 2-2.
Mired in an extended slump. Hanging breaking ball that he stays on top of and hits a linea. Off-speed change-up that's up. You don't see the same bite. It's right there at the waist. And that's the kind of line drives that Jock was hitting in BP. A very nice batting practice, but that is the weight of the world. And that felt like more than one hit.
Yeah. And a lot of times you'll see it become that. A lot of times it takes just one to get a guy going. And now the Dodgers turn their attention to retaking the lead with Yasiel Puig the batter and the go-ahead run at second. Ball one.
Exactly.
And hear the "Let's Go Dodger" chant ringing through Chase Field. Diamondbacks trying to drown it out with boos. Puig with a base hit to right. They send Peterson. Martinez has no shot. The Dodgers have taken the lead. Peterson and Puig back-to-back two-out hits against Zach Greinke to make it 3-2.
First base open, Alex Wood on deck. Dodgers would probably pinch hit, so you think, why aren't they walking Puig? They like the matchup better than first and second, and against the pinch hitter. And Yasiel does a very nice job pushing that ball out to right field.
And that will do it for Zach Greinke. Torey Lovullo takes it from him. He is now on the hook. Jock Peterson and Yasiel Puig come through to get Greinke out and get the Dodgers the lead. The first 6 innings of this game for Zach Greinke, 2 runs at least on 3 hits here in the 7th inning alone. The Dodgers get him out of the game with Jake Barrett coming on to face Austin Barnes, who's pinch hitting for Alex Wood.
Jake Barrett has had an exceptional time here in the big leagues, but only 12 2/3. But you saw that ERA of .71. Diamondbacks now looking for their own comeback where the Dodgers have come back.
Barnes' first at bat since Sunday when he had that foul tip off his hand. As he told Alana earlier, X-rays revealed nothing to worry about. Had the off day Monday and then a day off yesterday. Pinch hitting for Wood here in the 7th. Barrett's in there at 97 with a strike. So Alex Wood goes 6 innings, and the offense gets him off the hook with these 2 2-out runs here in the 7th. And a back and forth affair. Dodgers got the first one, and the Diamondbacks went up 2-1 before the 2 Dodger runs here in the 7th. Puig, who is focused more and more on going the other way, does just that to bring home Jock Peterson for the go-ahead run. Started talking about a goal of his being 3,000 hits when he was at MLB Network last weekend, and he said that doesn't happen if you're not using the whole field. You don't even have a chance to talk about 3,000 if you're not going the other way. The 1-2. Barnes foul tips it into the glove for strike 3. But the Dodgers get clutch hits from Peterson and Puig. We stretch in a 3-2 game.
Much like a playoff atmosphere, and here is what lies ahead for the Dodgers. Brought to you by 76. Of course, we round this one out tomorrow. Again, you can see it right here on Sports in LA. Then 3 at home with the San Diego Padres, a day off on Monday, and then a 2-game set with the Chicago White Sox beginning on Tuesday. As far as the rotation, guys, it looks like we're pretty much going to stay on turn. Darvish goes tomorrow in his 2nd outing, then Hill on Friday, Ryu on Saturday, Kenta Maeda will go on Sunday. A day off, as I mentioned, on Monday. Tuesday will be Alex Wood, and then the much-anticipated Dodger home debut of Yu Darvish on Wednesday. It also happens to be his 31st birthday.
Yeah, it should be fun. Great way for him to make his Dodger Stadium debut. Josh Fields debuts in this game, 40th appearance this season, trying to hold on to a 1-run lead. Bottom part of the order. Jeff Mathis. Ball one. Off the end of the bat in short right field. Chase Utley. Well, Fields wastes no time getting Mathis, and now look at a pinch hitter, Brandon Drury, coming up.
Pinch hitting for Jake Barrett, number 27. Brandon Drury.
Got off to a really hot start this season, was the everyday second baseman, but then the bat began to slump, and they were not happy with some effort in certain situations. Misplayed a couple of balls, and when they went back and looked at video of the misplays, they saw that he wasn't ready for the pitch. Hanging breaking ball lifted to center, but no big deal for Peterson. 2 up, 2 down. Back to the top, Peralta. Oh, and 1.
A changeup right there. Outstanding seeing Josh Fields mix that in. The primary secondary pitch this year has been the curveball, and that has been much better, but that changeup had some nice depth and great change of speeds.
Yeah, it wasn't just normally when you say, oh, he threw that for the first time in a long time, it's just kind of there. It looked like a good one. And then he turns it up to 95. Strike 2.
Makes that one look better too.
Uh-huh. Third appearance on this trip for Fields. He's not allowed to run over the first 2. 1 in Atlanta, 1 in New York. And now his first appearance against the Diamondbacks. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Dodgers are 5-2 on this trip. Since the last time they lost a series, they're 44-8. On 7 pitches, a 1-2-3 7th inning for Fields. Top of the Dodger order, Chris Taylor coming up, trying to add on when you come back. is brought to you by BMW. See a Southern California BMW Center today for exceptional offers or visit SoCalBMW.com. Back in Archie Bradley's house, as he wanted everybody to know last night. Worked a scoreless inning against the Dodgers and came off with a field showing a ton of emotion. And look, you know, in a loss, you don't like seeing it from the other side, but I think stuff like this is fun and good for the game.
It's very entertaining. Fans love to see their players show their passion, that they care as much about winning as fans care about rooting for you to win.
Said his phone has been blowing up since, mostly tweets from Dodger fans that didn't like it. Facing the top of the order, Chris Taylor taking ball one. One of the tweets he got was from Dontrell Willis, who said he really liked what he saw. That's a scalded shot to second, caught by Rosales for the first out. And Bradley said it's probably the most emotion he's ever shown, and he doesn't even know exactly what happened. It's just what he was feeling inside, and the crowd was really rocking, facing the juggernaut that is the Los Angeles Dodgers, and let it all out.
A team as good as the Dodgers and what they're accomplishing this year in the regular season stirs the passion and the concentration of the opponent, puts the bullseye right on your chest. It is not hard to concentrate when you're facing Goliath.
1-1 on Seager. Two and one. Bradley, a guy with a football background. If you thought you saw a little fire there, he was a highly touted quarterback recruit in Oklahoma. Actually recruited pretty heavily by OU. 3-1. Instead of going there and playing football, like to design when the Diamondbacks took him 7th overall in 2011. 3-2 on Seager. And a converted starter. He really never panned out as a starter, but he seems to have settled in perfectly fine and found a nice home here at the back end of the bullpen. His payoff to Seager. Line to left, and a catch. Diving forward by Peralta.
Good piece of hitting and a nice play out in left field.
Third baseman.
Peralta gets a bead on it, make sure that the glove captures it.
So 2 outs and Turner the batter. Strike one. Dodger bullpen is quiet. Looks like Josh Fields is going to have a chance to pitch more than an inning in this one. Turner muscles a line drive to center that hangs up for Pollock, and the Dodgers down in order in the 8th.
Brought to you by your Southern California Nissan dealers. John and Nomar, and somewhere Jerry Hairston Jr. will break this one down as Alex Wood is in line to pick up his 14th win of the season as the Dodgers look to pick up their 80th win of the year.
Purple. Looks like the color coordinated the purple in there tonight. John and Nomar looking sharp as always. Josh Fields, after a 7-pitch 1-2-3-7, faces Dan the Descalso and pours in strike one. Descalso pinch hitting for Rosales. Pollock and Goldschmidt to follow here in a one-run game. That's a base hit to center.
Add to your Dodger gear collection on Wednesday, August 16th, when Yu Darvish takes the hill on his 31st birthday as the Dodgers host the White Sox. The first 40,000 fans in attendance will receive a pair of LA branded socks presented by New Balance. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
That'll be his first Dodger Stadium start. His next start overall is tomorrow in the series finale of this one. So the Diamondbacks promptly put the tying run on base against Fields. Now to the heart of the order. A.J. Pollock swings away, hits a fly ball to left. This is playable for Chris Taylor, and Pollock the first out of the 8th.
Not unusual for hitters to swing at the first pitch fastball off of Josh Fields, as we see Kenley Jansen loosen. Kenley has been used a lot this year for 4 and 5 out saves,
but not used much at all recently. So Dave Roberts happy to bring him in early if he needs to. So here's Goldschmidt. Solo home run deep center field off Alex Wood in the 4th. It tied this game at 1. Arizona took a short-lived lead in the 6th. The Dodgers getting 2 in the top of the 7th to bring us here. The home run was his 26th against the Dodgers lifetime. Over 7 years in the majors, an all-star 5 times. Here's a 1-0. A ground ball to short. Seager's got it. They get 1 at second, and they turn a double play. 6-4-3 to finish the Diamondbacks off in the 8th. Josh Fields with a pair of shutout frames. Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Land Rover, above and beyond. Then to Descalso, after pinch hitting last inning, stays in the game to play second. And Andrew Chafin comes on to pitch with the left-handed batting Cody Bellinger due to lead off.
Fastball slider change, mostly fastball slider to left-handed hitters. He has worked a little bit this week, but has a few days off prior to working 3 days out of 4 as he comes up to face Mr. Cody Bellinger.
A good night for him. Hit his 33rd home run in the second. Doubled the leadoff last inning and scored the tying run on Peterson's 2-out double. Takes strike one. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, Diamondbacks have Martinez, Marte, and Lamb coming up against Jansen. That's 5, 6, and 7. It's a pretty darn good 5, 6, 7. One and one. It's a lineup constructed for a left-handed starter. That's why Lamb is down there. Normally he's in the top half of the order. Bellinger hits a roller to first, and Goldschmidt takes it to the bag for the first out. And Cody hardly made it out of the box there, crumbling down with his bat splintering.
Bat didn't make it through this at bat, shattered. You just hope Cody's right ankle makes it through.
With one out, it's Grandal taking ball one. Two and 0. Same place, same time tomorrow night. Darvish for the Dodgers, a guy named Anthony Banda for the Diamondbacks, a rookie that the Dodgers will see for the first time. Another 6:40 start time. Can't wait to watch Darvish again.
It was fun to watch him in New York, and it'll be fun to watch him here in Arizona. I'll tell you what, he's hoping to have a little better slider, but the other stuff was good enough.
Goldschmidt positioned well to take a hit away from Grandal. 2 up and 2 down. Yeah, didn't have his best stuff, and still 7 shutout innings where he struck out 10.
It's hard to believe, but when you watched him out there, there were parts of the game that he really wasn't comfortable with his release point.
Kike Hernandez pinch hitting for Chase Utley.
Number 14, Kike Hernandez.
Trying to feast on the left-hander here to get some insurance.
Is it ambush time for Kike?
It often is.
Mid-90s fastball coming at you. He loves to hit him.
He tried to. Players Weekend jersey for him. His nameplate will just say Kike. Tweeted that he loved the look of the jerseys. His 2 favorite things meet: baseball and soccer. They kind of look like soccer uniforms. Chafin pitches 1-1, and Hernandez, it's a fly ball foul, 1-2. And an entertaining game, entertaining series really, and what could be a preview of the postseason. Yasiel Puig's 2-out base hit in the 7th inning, the difference right now. 2-2. Hit well to left center field. That ball's carrying back towards the wall and off the wall for Hernandez. A pinch hit double to the deepest part of the yard to keep the 9th inning going.
PK never came off a fastball. Stayed on it the whole at bat. A little off the end of the batter. This ball is out of here. He's always had lightning in his hands. It's just about contact. Almost pushed it out of here.
And even though there's a left-hander on the mound, Dave Roberts trying to capitalize on the momentum Peterson likely got from snapping that skid with a game-tying double in the 7th. Boy, some insurance sure would feel nice. Only team that's had close to as much magic this year as the Dodgers is probably the Diamondbacks, especially in this ballpark. 1 ball and no strikes. Peterson reaches, Puig would bat. On the corner for a strike. Got the rally lights out here. I guess those would be Dodger fans that would, those are technically rally lights.
I would think so, yeah.
2-1. Yeah, looks like mostly. Shows you how many Dodger fans there are because it's much of the crowd delivering those. Hernandez at second with 2 out after the double. And a 2-1 to Peterson. Outside for ball 3. No action in the Arizona bullpen, so Chafin would have to deal with Puig if Peterson can keep the inning going. Jock hoping that that double in the 7th was a turning point for him. Snapping the 0 for 23 slide on this 3-1. He takes ball 4. First and second with 2 gone, and here comes Puig. Mike Butcher, the pitching coach, comes out. With runners at first and second and 2 gone, and Yasiel Puig coming up.
Yasiel has made outs to the left side. He's gotten hits to the right side. Getting harder and harder to defend. Used to play him in the 6th hole, and he'd just roll over the ball over there prior to Turner Ward and he working endless hours for the last month or so. Now being able to spray the ball and get it in the air to all fields.
Been quite the evolution, not just of him maturing off the field, but of him in the batter's box. Two on, two out, ninth inning. Ball one. Such a special relationship with Turner Ward, but Turner would be quick to tell you that Yasiel deserves all the credit for buying in and putting in the work. Two and 0. Turner said he knew that he turned a corner with Yasiel when he got to a point where he couldn't shut him up from talking hitting, talking different things about his swing that he was feeling. Wasn't always something that Yasiel engaged in, but now he won't stop. On 2-0. Puig takes a strike, 2-1. Like that, him thinking things through.
A little different than when he used to hit his biceps, his back, and his head. Now he's actually working on mechanics.
While still feeling that rhythm. And shooting a little game face out at Chafin, who brings a 2-1 after a look back there. You often see Yasiel kind of dancing in the box. There was a coach in Cuba that told him the best way to get in rhythm is to sing a song to yourself and dance to it. And so Yasiel does that often.
He's singing a different tune now.
That is for sure. It's much happier. A 2-1. Goes after a high fastball, 2-2.
It's been all heaters. Is he going to mix in a breaking ball?
Stuck with a fastball, and the count goes full.
Well, the fish were biting up there in the last pitch. They thought maybe they'd bite again, but that one wasn't in the vicinity.
Runners will take off. There they go. Here it comes, and Puig takes ball 4 to load him up. Nothing but fastballs in that at-bat.
Kike Hernandez saw all fastballs. Yasiel Puig saw all fastballs. Chafin has the slider. He also has a changeup, but he only throws it about 1 out of every 100 pitches.
Kyle Farmer, 3 for 6 in his major league career. Chance to break it open here in the 9th inning. And some loosening down in that Arizona bullpen. Maybe too late though. Farmer goes after the first pitch, and waiting at second, Descalso. All right, fasten those seatbelts. Martinez, Marte, Lamb against Kenley Jansen. Kenley Jansen to handle the 9th inning for the Dodgers, trying to put a capper on what would be a nice win, even this series at a game apiece.
Kenley Jansen, if he's not the best closer in the game, he's one of the best. The complete pitcher now, not just a closer. He will go out there and show you everything. His slider at any time, the cutter, the two-seamer. He'll vary the deliveries, and he has all the poise in the world.
He has Kike Hernandez at second after his pinch hit double. J.D. Martinez, a ton of pop to lead off the inning. And there was strike one. Faced him twice. 0 for 1 with a walk. Marte and Lamb to follow in a 3-2 game here in the 9th. Jansen pitches 0-1, and Martinez takes low for a ball. Two and one. Two and two, and for the second time tonight, Martinez loses his grip on the bat.
Game time was 107 degrees outside, but 80 degrees here indoors, so it's not overly hot to melt any of the stickum you're using. Loses the grip.
It's already uncomfortable enough facing Kenley Jansen. Now you have that in the back of your mind. It's happened twice. Kenley shaking a couple of times. Now he has one that he likes. Here he comes with a 2-2. Just misses, full count.
All the shakes to be slightly deceptive that I'm not just coming with my cutter, so he went all over the board before he came back to the original signal.
Got him swinging for the first out of the 9th.
Some nights they cut a lot, some nights they cut a little. When they're down this low, it's like a late sharp slider, and he can throw the one up by your ribs and make it move that much too.
That's now 76 strikeouts to 5 walks this year for Jansen. With one out, it's Ketel Marte. Jake Lamb due next in a 1-run game in the 9th inning. That's strike one. First time Marte has faced Jansen. Up and in, 1 ball and 1 strike. We talked about it the other night, but could Kenley Jansen be making a Cy Young case?
He could be if none of the starters really finish off their case. That's when they usually jump over to the reliever side of the equation.
One and two.
Hard for lefties to really pick him up. He's such a big man. That thick torso and legs. When he takes the ball out of his glove, it is hidden the whole way until it starts to come forward.
Little hesitation, and it's taken high, 2-2. It's at a point now where he is so confident in his bread and butter, that cutter, that he started to add in the little wrinkles, like the hesitation and the delivery, like the slider we see more of. A 2-2 to Marte.
The cutter is natural. It's not something he manipulates. The two-seamer is something that he can get on the inside of every once in a while, run away from these left-handed hitters.
Another 2-2, and it hit him. So the Diamondbacks will bring the potential winning run to the plate in the form of Jake Lamb.
Just keeps running in there, and the check swing puts the elbow closer to it. Diamondbacks catch a break.
Only the second batter that Jansen has hit this year in 49 innings of work. Okay. Well, Lamb has not been good against Kenley Jansen, but he's not been good against left-handers either, and that didn't keep him from hitting the game-winning grand slam against one last night.
Marte, no stolen bases over there at first, been caught once. Kenley has improved his move and his times to the plate.
Jake Lamb, who has turned into a Dodger killer, takes ball one. 10 games against the Dodgers this year. Lamb has hit 6 home runs and knocked in 13. Tying run at first. Potential winning run at the plate for Arizona. Fly ball to short center field. Peterson started back. Now comes on. 2 out. And you breathe a sigh of relief if you're a Dodger fan with Lamb headed back to the dugout. And Kenley Jansen now 1 out away. Torey Lovullo sends up Gregor Blanco, and that is with good reason. 2 for 4 against Jansen with 3 walks. On the first one, Blanco takes a strike. Dodgers got the game's first run and a Bellinger home run way back in the second. Diamondbacks answer with a home run from Goldschmidt in the 4th. They took the lead in the 6th on a 2-out single from JD Martinez, but the Dodgers retaking the lead with a 2-run 7th. 3-2 in the 9th. The 0-1. Hit foul, and the Diamondbacks down to their final strike. Set for the 0-2. And a check on Marte.
An example of how complete and how in tune he is with the game. Not taking anything for granted with an 0-2 count. Checking on the runner.
Again. Now the 0-2. Marte runs. Swing and a miss. The game is over. The Dodgers win a tight one. Win number 80 of the season is 3-2 over the Diamondbacks.
They even this series, and they take the season series to 7-5 in their favor. They don't want to let the Diamondbacks set any tone here in the regular season, giving them confidence that maybe come October they have a chance.
Our Lexus player of the game is the kid, Cody Bellinger, in his first series back in his hometown. It's his 33rd home run of the season, and he hits it off Zach Greinke. And in the 7th, with the Dodgers down by a run, he leads off with a ringing double and comes in to score the tying run on Jock Peterson's 2-out double. Peterson would score when Puig followed with a single of his own, and the Dodgers win it 3-2. Series finale tomorrow. Series rubber match. Yu Darvish takes the ball for the Dodgers. For Oral, Alana, and the rest of our crew, Joe Davis saying so long from Phoenix. Access Sportsnet brought to you by your Southern California Nissan dealers begins now.